At the Eastern Shore Community Center Library, we have millions of electronic resources, and these resources are in databases. So we have 170 or more databases, and each database has kind of its little unique features and is a little bit different from another database. Now, in another video, I covered how to access the information in all those databases with our library catalog. However, sometimes you might want to browse the database specifically. So databases are designed for a little bit more browsing. If you're not quite sure what you're doing, you need some inspiration, you might want to go specifically to the database and browse. Sometimes you know exactly the topic you want, and so you go to the catalog. Other times you might be doing a little bit more browsing, or maybe you do know your topic and you know, oh, it's what I want's going to be in this database. Let me not get a million different search results in the catalog. Let's go directly to the database. So I'm on the library website at Eastern Shore Community College. To get here, I clicked Learning Resource Center in the top right. And then on the left, right here, there's an online databases button. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And this gives me a list of A to Z databases. Now we have lots of databases having to do with nursing and health. And one thing I can do is in subjects, I can go to those databases, nursing and health, or there's subjects like sciences, etc. And then this will provide those databases for me. If I know the database I want, I can also search for it. Like in the A to Z list. So it's in alphabetical order. There's 197 databases. I could go to N, for example, or J, and here we have Journal of Cell Biology, Journal of Experimental Medicine. So I have open up here a number of different of these databases, just so you can kind of get a feel for what databases are out there and what the differences are. Here's the Journal of Experimental Medicine. So it's very much a journal, and you can see the newest articles in the latest issue here, and then you can click on them and go further. Here is a database, and this has several databases inside the database. So if you want books specifically, you might go to books at Ovid or journals at Ovid, and then search for those books or journals here. So this is more of a search aspect, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Consumer health is more of a browsing. You find the topic you want, and then you can click it and find articles about that. This is EBSCOhost, and I'll come back to this, but this is the most likely look that you will see. And it's very much a search feature with filter options. And you can say, hey, I want the most recent information. Ovid is where we were earlier. So here's a list of the books they provide. If you want to look inside the book, sometimes the books have articles inside of them. Here's the National Library of Medicine, more of a search type feel. Sports medicine. Here's a list of books at Springer, and they have all sorts of topics. It's not just health here at Springer, but you can look through a list of their books or search their books, which might make sense since there's 28 1,000 books. Here's the journals at Ovid. And then this isn't specifically books, or this isn't specifically nursing, but there's some health policy videos at this Alexander Street database. And so I went specifically and searched for health, and they don't have a lot, but if you're looking for a video, perhaps this would be helpful. They tailor more to documentaries and history. So we have the history of nursing. Here we go. Um, you have a documentary. I saw a documentary about living with breast cancer, so and women and heart disease, so more the effects and the emotions that might be associated with some of these health issues. So those would be videos. Maybe you want to add a video to your presentation or a clip to your presentation. Films on Demand is another database with videos, and it has many different results. But I just looked up nutrition here, and you can see the videos that come up with about nutrition. The video databases might be a little bit more broader subjects. So something like nutrition would work to look it up, maybe not something specific like vitamin C. But you never know. You can always try. So that's some of the databases we offer about health and nursing. If you want to get a flyer from us with a list of those databases, you're welcome to. And when you're searching in these databases, like that EBSCO host database I showed you, you can always use these Boolean operators, and you can use them in a lot of different searches, even Google. But if you put in all caps and, it will look for articles or books that include both of those topics. But if you put in all caps or, it will look for articles and books that have both of those topics, but they don't have to have both of the topics in the same article. So you might search for vitamin D and calcium to find both of those in the same article. But if you don't care and you just want articles about tick diseases, you might look up Lyme disease or Lone Star tick. You can also use not to say, I don't want this topic. I'm interested in articles about cancer, but not lymphoma. Um, and then maybe you want to look up articles on a topic, and instead of writing out all the words that could possibly be used for the topic, um, you want to shorten it. So if you do AUT and an asterisk, then you'll find all the words that begin with that. So autism, autistic. That way you don't have to search for both autism and autistic. You can just do this one search. And then you can even get complicated with your searches and treat it like a math formula and put them in parentheses. I want an article about COVID and causes. So I want both of those to be in this article, but I don't want an article about the effects of COVID. For more tips and help, one-on-one help, come to the library and we'll be happy to help show you our nursing databases.